Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Ironworker Gaming channel, or welcome to the Ironworker Gaming channel for the very first time. I am Ironworker814, and today in this video, we are going to be analyzing whether Destiny 3, or whatever the next iteration of Destiny is called, could launch in a free-to-play state. We're gonna do this by first looking at some very basic free-to-play design elements that are implemented in some other games. We'll ask the question, why would Bungie want to go free-to-play with Destiny? And then we will take a look at, are we being groomed by Bungie currently to make a free-to-play model more acceptable in the player base's eyes? We'll also analyze if going full free-to-play for Destiny would be such a bad thing. And then I'll try to answer the question, will it actually happen? If at any time during this video you get the feeling that it is worthy of your support, hitting like and subscribe is a great way to help this little speck of a Destiny channel grow. So why in the world would I even suggest the fact that Destiny 3 or Destiny the next game would ever go free to play? Well, it all started when I was doing the Seraph Tower event on the moon with my buddy this past weekend. We were kind of casually talking about Destiny 3 and what we'd like to see in Destiny 3 and what it could possibly look like. And my buddy said he would almost guarantee that Destiny 3 is going to be a full-blown, free-to-play bonanza. At the time, I just kind of shrugged it off and really didn't think much of it. But then, I started thinking about it. And then, I started thinking about it a lot. And the more I thought about it, the more I became scared that he might actually be right. I worry about it because I think inherently a free-to-play version of Destiny would pull the game away from the game elements that I truly enjoy. Now, we all know Destiny 2 cannot last forever. There's mounting technical issues, connection issues, and the file size of the game is just getting a little too bloated. At some point, they are going to have to release another iteration of Destiny. Nobody actually knows when a full future content release will actually happen, and I don't have any more information on this than the next guy. But I did spend a good bit of time researching and digging why Bungie would or would not want to adopt a free-to-play model for Destiny. I made a little brainstorming chart with lots of little topics and points in the bubbles, and I started to try to link them and connect them. And I'll tell you what, after looking at the chart when I was done, it's not hard to see that if Bungie wanted to go free to play with its next game, it would probably be as easy as flipping a switch. The elements are all in place. Now, full disclosure, I generally have a negative outlook on free to play games. Not all, just most. I've always opposed loot boxes, and cash shops and other monetization schemes that must be applied to keep these games financially stable, I find to be shady at times. I'm the type of guy who would rather pay my $60 upfront, get my content, and not be asked for any more money until another major content drop is about to release. So let's dive into this now, and first take a look at the general free-to-play game design philosophy to see if it lines up with anything that Destiny is currently doing. Free-to-play games have a simple and general process to make money. First, they design their games with a very basic content loop. They make the player feel accomplished for completing this loop. Then, they will award the player with a small amount of in-game currency, leading them to the cash shop. Once they spend their currency, they will offer more currency for real-world dollars. Most games will put their most desirable items behind this paywall and constantly try to entice players to make a purchase with real-world money. The most egregious free-to-play games will follow the MVP philosophy also. MVP standing for Minimum Viable Product. The game developer will try to give the customer as little possible content as they can without jeopardizing the player's interest in purchasing the game. The game should have just enough entertainment value to keep the player base engaged, but never rewarding enough to make the player base feel satisfied. Some games will take it one step further and require real-world money to make the game more enjoyable or to speed up progress. Now, Destiny currently does not meet all of these points, but I think even a fool can see the similarities between these free-to-play game design elements and what's going on with Destiny right now. I think in general the player base would agree that since Bungie split with Activision, the seasonal content has been a little lighter and a little less interesting. Not to say there haven't been some bright spots, because there were, like with Saint 14 and Season of Dawn, but overall it feels like there's less being offered season to season right now. This is almost certainly linked to the fact that the sole maintenance and development of Destiny lies on Bungie's shoulders now. They no longer have High Moon Studios or Vicarious Visions to help out with various products. And you can almost feel the strain that is being placed on Bungie's development team through the content that has been released recently. On top of that, we have no idea of what Bungie's financial situation is. In the past, we knew how much money Destiny was making because Activision shares were traded on the public market. They had to make quarterly earnings calls to their shareholders to keep them informed of how the company was doing. Now, Bungie outright owns Destiny and they are a private company. They need to disclose no financial information to the public. While I think most people would assume that Bungie and Destiny are performing well, the only people who know this are the people working the books at Bungie. If Bungie, in fact, is in a financially strained situation, moving to a free-to-play model could possibly relieve some of this burden. There are a lot of games out there that have been very successful and very profitable by using a free-to-play model for their games. The theory would be going free-to-play would get more players in the door playing Destiny. That would also incentivize them to make more seasonal purchases and more cosmetic purchases in the Eververse store. Almost certainly, the quality of the content you'd be receiving would take a hit, but it would probably be a little more easily forgiven because of the fact you are not actually paying to play it. Knocking your content back a touch, kind of eliminating some of your development overhead, and focusing mainly on microtransactions might be a safer play if Bungie needs to stay financially stable. Now, this sounds really bad to most Destiny players probably, but there are games out there that do this free-to-play model right. Warframe, for example, they have been free-to-play since launch, and they probably have one of the most consumer-friendly free-to-play models on the market. If Bungie does decide to go this free-to-play route, it would be wise of them to follow the lead of Digital Extremes with Warframe. But that doesn't even guarantee the fact that Destiny's player base may not accept this content shift. I personally would not like to see the game move in this direction, but hey, I'm not the one running the company. In the end, it is up to Bungie and what is financially best for them. Now, do you ever get the sense that maybe Bungie is kind of trying to groom us mentally for a shift to a free-to-play model? I mean, if you look at the game, just at an overview, real brief glance, the pieces are in place. And there are some major tip-offs that would suggest that is the path we are going down. The first one that really got me scratching my head was the implementation of a battle pass. Now, battle passes have their roots set in Dota 2 with the International Compendium of 2015. Years later, the battle pass was brought to the forefront of gaming by a battle royale shooter that you may have heard of. Fortnite asks $10 from the player for better level-based rewards as they progress through a season. While Bungie's battle pass system does come with content that changes the game world, it still has the same things in the battle pass that most other games have. You're getting cosmetics, materials, experience boosts, and a light sprinkling of in-game currency. Now, Destiny's seasonal battle pass system seems to be pretty well received, and you can guarantee they're taking note of that. While most games could probably monetize on a battle pass system alone, almost all of them come with a feature to supplement it, the Cash Shop. The Cash Shop was initially a tool used by free-to-play game developers to kind of earn back some of their development costs from their player base. But now this has been adopted by basically every game on the market. It's hard to find a game out there anymore that does not have some sort of cash shop in place. And with the demonization of loot boxes, the cash shop seems to be gaining even more footing. Look at the Eververse store. With every season, they get a huge influx of items and cosmetics, while your core activities and your planetary vendors have been neglected for a long time. Does anyone remember playing the Dawning when we were doing the seasonal event to get the Dawning armor? That's not the case anymore. What we're doing is we're playing the Dawning to get Bright Dust, the in-game currency, to buy the Dawning armor from the cash shop. Now in Destiny, players' frustration with the Eververse store continually grows. But if it wasn't profitable, it wouldn't be there. If Bungie wasn't selling any of these items they've been developing for Eververse, it would have been gone a long time ago. But the fact of the matter is, people keep buying, so Bungie will keep selling. The last facet of the game where I feel we're kind of being groomed is that free-to-play design loop that I've talked about earlier. What are we doing in Season of Undying, Season of Dawn, and Season of the Worthy? In Undying, do Vex Offensive, get some tokens, visit Ikora. In Dawn, Sundial, get Fractaline, visit the Obelisk. In Worthy, do the Seraph Tower, get the bits, see Rasputin. I mean, look at it. This is that very basic, simple design loop implemented to a T. We're doing the same thing in all three of these seasons. It's the same book. It's just got a different cover on it. I mean, is this Bungie's way of tempering our expectations and setting our expectations for the future? Do they want to make the Battle Pass, the Eververse store, and the simple content loop that we're getting now the new normal for the game? I mean, I can't say for certain if that's the direction they're gonna want to go, but if they do want to go that direction, as I've said before, the pieces are in place, all they have to do is pull the trigger. So, would a full-on free-to-play Destiny be such a bad thing? In my opinion, given the reasons I play Destiny, I think this would hurt the game for me. I play Destiny for the big content drops. The events that really push the game forward. The DLCs with rich story and new loot and new aspirational content. You know, the content drops that really change the feel of the game. Like Taken King or Forsaken. Those are great examples of the content that I want in Destiny. If the next Destiny game launched in a totally free-to-play state, I would worry that we would not see this kind of content anymore after the initial release. I would worry that the launch would be followed up with content that looks a lot like the recent seasons we've experienced. And then 1 year later, when we generally see that big Destiny expansion happen, I fear that's going to be a little bit smaller and a lot less fleshed out. See, I'm not the type of guy who is solely driven by the do the thing, get the stuff game loop. I need more substance, I need something to back it up to make it feel worthwhile to me. But you have to understand, I am just one person, this is just my opinion, and I am only viewing it from my perspective. For some people, the do the thing, get the stuff game loop is why they play Destiny. They love to grind activities. They want to collect all the right rolls on all the right guns and check off all the boxes that Destiny puts in front of them. For me, the story and the lore of Destiny is a very important element of the game, but that doesn't apply to all people. And I think if you're just happy with doing the content and getting the stuff, a free-to-play model of Destiny would be fine for you, because you're getting to do all the things you're currently doing without the entry fee. So is this actually going to happen? Is the next Destiny launch going to be free to play? At this point, I don't think it's going to be. but this has nothing to do with the feelings of the player base, believe me. When I did all my digging and did all my research, made my charts, made my notes, linked everything together, everything kind of pointed to, yes, Bungie very possibly could go free to play with Destiny 3. But there is one major consideration I did not take into account initially. For a long time now, Bungie has been double dipping. As a player base, we are buying Destiny content at launch for full price, and most likely buying a deluxe edition, to get that sweet Cold Heart skin that comes with it. Then, we are immediately shelling out more money for the upcoming seasonal content. The following year, we're paying full price on release for the new expansion, and then renewing for another year of seasonal content. All this while dumping our Bright Dust and Silver that we spent money on into the Eververse store to get those sweet cosmetics that you just can't get anywhere else. Destiny has an incredibly dedicated and loyal player base, and believe me, Bungie is fully aware of that. So why would they simply go with a free-to-play model and abandon that AAA content drop model when they can just do both? So unless the development costs of those big content releases just becomes too great, I would expect that whenever Destiny 3, or whatever it's called, comes out, you can expect to be paying $60 for the base game at launch. I have to assume that the current model that they're using to monetize their game is doing just fine. There you have it. That is my take on the free-to-play potential of Destiny 3. Thanks for hanging out to the bitter end of this video. If you enjoyed it and found the content useful, remember you can always support this channel by liking and subscribing. It is greatly appreciated. If you want to get a hold of me, the best way you can do that is simply down in the comments. While you're down there, why don't you leave me your thoughts and opinions of the subject matter? I always like to hear opposing or supporting opinions from other people in the community. If you'd like to come interact with me live, I do stream on Twitch, generally weekend evenings starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I recently have kind of not been following a really rigid schedule with that, but I will do my best to get on in that time frame in the upcoming weeks. With all that being said, thank you for spending a piece of your day with me. You guys are awesome, and I will catch you on the next one.